dark. Yeah, it's a little gloomy, but that's all right. That's not going to stop this lift from happening. That would, that'd be insane. Imagine the kind of character where the weather isn't exactly perfect, and then it's stay home. I don't think that happens, but just as a hypothetical, just the idea that it could, not cool. So playing today with arms. We'll see, right? I don't. Last arm day was a little bit of just straight tries, followed by straight buys. So it was all push downs, all curls, pose down. So today I might swap it and do a little more of a fast-paced back and forth. Because the last thing I want to do is get into a habit of repeating the exact same lift every day, or every muscle day, so every arm day, every leg day. I don't want them to be so repetitive that I just get caught doing the same things, right? Because it's there's this kind of old saying where if you run down, or if you're dragging a cart down the exact same path, right, eventually it gets good at it, it kind of wears the road down, but it makes it harder to branch off because now it's rolling through these little divots. So, think about that in your mind. I'm sure there's guys that are still out there doing their college footballs, upper, lower, full body training day exactly as they knew it way back then. And it's just kind of wired into their minds shit, man, this worked when I was a high school, or when I was a college baller. Let's keep it up, right? And not to say that could be a bad thing. Maybe that's sweet. Maybe that guy's routine is totally perfect for him. And for him to just keep running it up, there's nothing better, right? That's what's easily consistent for that guy to keep doing. But working out's not so stagnant. You're not the same dude. You don't have the same physical features or traits from right now to next year to the year after that. It's always going back and forth. Maybe you tweak something. So to have a very boxed in and linear approach to the lift and your workouts, it's just not very creative, right? I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel every arm day, or every leg day, or every chest day, or whatever. But I know I just don't want to get caught doing only the same stuff and thinking that only the same stuff that I end up doing works. I want to be able to change. My workouts have changed drastically now from 2 years ago, and I would probably like it to be the same thing from now to the next 2 years. And maybe I learn some other new kind of secret something or other approach or style, and I say, oh, there's actually something to that. I mean, when me and David went down to Chris's gym, what was that, 2 months ago ish, he was talking to me. We didn't get any specifics because we were training back that day and we had other stuff going on. But he was saying he had a 3 leg day in a row schedule at one point, where really I guess the idea was to really hype up leg destruction, or I guess more leg growth. And I guess I'll ask him next time, or whatever expo we end up seeing each other at again, because I guess I'm curious. We all need bigger legs, but right now I'm not growing, so maybe that'll be a question I can save for later, after this next show, once I actually want to start beefing back up again and packing on size. Try to get some extra intel in terms of what works, and maybe not exactly what works, but what worked for them, and then seeing how much of an overlap that might have for you, right? If you're a hyper advanced 20-year workout or 20-year lifting gym veteran, well, you might be looking for different tips than the stuff that a beginner guy is going to be listening for. But the idea that you're at a point where you know everything and you're kind of walking around like you're the shit, and it's dude, it's just not cool. That's not cool in any for anybody, I guess, unless you're if you're actually someone who could talk like that, then you get a little bit of renown where you probably wouldn't even talk like that, because that's just not cool, like a Steve Jobs or something. But yeah, I can guarantee within probably an hour from working set number 1, we'll be posing down, and then we can see what we look like. But yeah, let's just wait until we get in there and start warming up before I try to make any conclusive statements about exactly how this workout is going to look. Part of it we'll just have to see. All right, I've got a habit of kind of backing off on single arm movements. And I can kind of understand why. They just take a little while longer. They're not like super crazy quick, but I think let's revert today, at least for a few. So none of this like 5 rep back and forth kind of style, like just straight up left side to failure, right side to failure, take a minute, repeat. I'd say my favorite part about a single arm, like D handle kind of push down, like, you know, kind of follow me here, but I'm not just doing a regular push and that's all. Like I'm kind of thinking push and then pull my hand back and out, almost with a little bit of like a kind of twisting action. Like imagine I'm holding a bat or something, like, you know, regular lengthways. I'm swinging it down, twisting it like I'm trying to get it behind my waist, if you kind of follow me. I can't think of a good like example of a real life circumstance that kind of activates like this. But that inward motion, which is something I haven't really felt when I was a beginner, is really getting a lot of this long head down here in the back. Like if you, it depends on how big you are, I guess, but you can kind of feel you've got a bigger chunk and then a smaller chunk. Obviously, you need this to be burning, but this is the big piece, right? This is the part that's going to matter, where if you're not really activating it, and maybe all your push downs, you're getting a lot of like medial, whatever, and like short head up here, it's just not going to thicken up in the back. So this will be a squeezing, emphasized set. The first rep will be very doable because it's not so heavy, but I'm going to gradually burn out until I'm at failure. Smaller side first, so I'll start on the right. There we go. Probably 2 more of those. Very similar to that one. Yeah, one more. and then we'll see. Okay. All right, one more. The next one will be like 5, 5, 5, 5, and then we'll pick something else. Something about that single arm today just feels sweet. Maybe it's because it's not super heavy. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's move on. Probably a straight bar, not a rope for the next one. This will just be easy bar, very pumpish reps, not like super quick. Or no, what I'm saying, not super slow. So this will be a little more like that last alternating set, a little more fast pace, flex to stretch. Let me pick a different TikTok audio. This one's been going for like 2 minutes. All right. Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. One more push down, but not here. Let's go over there to the pullover machine. Yeah. Same style, but a very different feeling if you can jump onto a pullover machine and use it backwards. There we go. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. I think I'm ready to curl something. Yeah, I think that's it for tries. I might do one more like pump up finisher as a superset with the last set of biceps, but for the most part, no, that's solid. So let's start with some light-ish easy bar curls. And these are gonna be similar execution to the single arm rope extensions in the beginning. The weight isn't the hard part, it's that I'm gonna sit and hold it and burn each rep for like, just about a full second while I'm fresh. And then as I approach failure, the reps will get a little faster, a little more pumpish. If I can find a good, oh, there we go. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Two. Three. Okay. Okay. Come on. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, goodness. Let's just see if I can 2 more. If it works, it works, and I need to jump around. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. 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 2. Yeah. 3. Okay. Holy crap. All right. That might actually be it. Give me a second to think. All right. Yeah. A little quicker. I think my biceps felt a touch tender from the last time I hit them, which kind of lends me to want to chill out on total volume. But no, that was good. I mean, well, let's just let the pump speak for itself. That's a very telling visual on its own. But no, that felt pretty good. And I think I'm glad that I got over the idea that I have to be in here for like a full-on marathon, like I used to think when I was younger, just because, it doesn't take that long, right? I mean, as long as you're really bringing it, I think you can get some pretty solid work done pretty efficiently. But let's see how we're looking. Oh, man. Oh, that was good. So yeah, I didn't look at the time of first set to last set. Yesterday, chest only ended up taking 24 minutes from first set to starting the last set, somewhere like 26, not including like 15 minutes of warm up. But I think if the density of your effort is there, I guess I'd just be curious to hear why somebody likes a 15 set workout and like what their logic is to explain it. Because I used to think as a beginner, all right, well, I'm going to do 5 movements. I'm going to do 5 sets of each movement. And then, and if you ask me to explain the reasoning any further than that, I wouldn't really have an answer, So just something to think about. I do think that obviously you're killing it if you're still in the gym getting after it. You got a good workout. But is it as effective as you want it to be, right? I mean, you got to drive somewhere. You probably want to take the most efficient path, right? But I'm not saying slack. Like, to reduce your volume purely because it's too hard to do too much is a little bit of a not an awesome mentality. But to kind of begrudgingly reduce your volume because you know, okay, if I really bring it here, it'll be a more effective workout than doing this much. I'm willing to do this much. I'm willing to sit in here for 2 hours for an arm day. But it's probably better if it's more like a 45-minute, hour kind of situation. So if you've got a long set or a long workout plan, your chest day takes 2 hours, you're doing 20 sets, I would love to hear the explanation, So, and that's not rhetorical, like, oh, I dare you to explain it. Like, no, I'm just very curious because I do, imagine if we were doing like a Jay Cutler-esque chest day. I haven't like totally boiled down what you'd call the Jay Cutler approach. But, and every set wasn't taken to failure. Kind of like, okay, 20 reps or, 12 repetitions, feeling it, burning, put it down, wait a little bit, do it again. Kind of a more high-paced or a faster-paced, quicker but less intense set by set. But then, if the sets are maybe 60% of what you could really do in one, then you can probably do 50% more sets, that kind of thing. So it's just back and forth. More volume, probably less intensity. More intensity, less volume. And I've always been leaning towards that more intensity, less volume side of things. But maybe I'm missing out, right? I mean, look at all the big ass dudes who do a lot of lunges, and they're doing like walking lunges, X pounds, like 100-meter, whatever. That's not a crazy high, super intense set of like super heavy barbell squats, and the guys have legs like tree trunks. So, the answer is it's ambiguous at worst, but at least different styles of training can be explained to a decent degree of logic, if you feel me. So just make sure whatever you're doing, you logically understand why you're doing it, and then it'll make you do it that much harder. Right? I don't think anybody could disagree with that. But yeah, nothing else to say. Let's get out of here. There we go. There we go. Another day, another pump. Another day, another lift. Another sunrise, another something to do with lifting that starts with the letter S. You can think of whatever that might be. But yeah, I'm getting very nostalgic right now. I don't know why I was thinking about it, but I just did like a rundown in my mind of all the gyms that I kind of miss from when I was on a variety of vacations with Mark and stuff. We went to this one down in, I think it was North Carolina, maybe South Carolina, whichever one of those gyms has whichever one is right next to Hilton Head, because like we were on Hilton Head and then we went to inland to find a gym. I went to this one powerhouse like 4 years ago that was really cool, and then they shut down, so we went somewhere else. But it was sweet. It was grungy. It was a little old school. I think that's what is kind of messing with me right now, in terms of just overall vibe. Is I got the white walls and the white ceiling in there. I kind of want the gym to be, at least that one, to kind of be a little more just dungeony, right? A little darker. So I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I'll put up a bunch of big ass curtains. No rush, no freaking rush, but just something, because I like when it's a little like I like the feeling of kind of you show up, whether it's late or dark or whatever, and you're in a different place. Like the gym's not normal. And a lot of older gyms, especially grungier ones, where I guess I'd love to know what makes a really good gym. Like, what was the circumstance? Was it this guy was a bodybuilder back when he was, younger, so he got this gym together and he really put effort into getting, the right equipment? Because it's, you could have, let's say somebody's main goal in life was, all right, I'm going to get a crazy-ass loan, I'm going to start this business, and I'm opening a gym. It's not a chain, I'm going to fight the big guys, let's make it happen. And, or like college rec center gyms, they've got, they all have a certain budget where they can make stuff like that.
And whoever was doing my gym at my school and like upgraded all the equipment really didn't know what they were doing. Like they got a bunch of junk, like, but you know, a lot of the times when it comes to a gym, it's all about the conventional image to a regular person. You know, like we appreciate a grind, I was about to say grungy and grimy at the same time, but like, you know, a tough gym. It doesn't have to be like dirty, that's what I'm saying, but just, it's got a selection of pieces where you're like, oh, all right, these guys know what they're doing. You know, the guy who picked out this piece actually had a vision of like, I know this is a good one, right? But it's kind of a, you know, a powers that be, where if you're a Life Fitness, if you're like a, actually, I mean, hammer strength stuff's pretty solid. Like there's no dogging on them. But a lot of gyms, or a lot of equipment manufacturers, they kind of, I mean, I don't know how it works. I've never talked to like the real corporate kind of guys. I've talked, you know, every time I see the Arsenal dudes, we're always hanging out and kind of chatting. And they're grungy, like in the sense that their equipment is supposed to be kind of tough. Like there's no scrappy plastic like cable line of the Arsenal stuff like there is with Life Fitness and Nautilus, or like Matrix, like all those kind of random gym brands, which I'm like 70% sure are kind of all just held under the same like subsidiary equity group. So they're all just, it's, you know, it's like controlled obsolescence. You want somebody's phone to get worse every year, so they have to buy it again. You know, that's like why every Planet Fitness is full of the same stuff, and every LA Fitness is full of the same stuff. Anytime it's full of the same stuff, but they've got hammer strength stuff usually, and that's pretty good. Like they know what they're doing. But yeah, so with the older gyms, I guess kind of back before all these gym manufacturers became like, you know, grouped up, because if like in terms of, it's like mergers, you know, like two businesses that are kind of competing against each other come together and they say, hey man, look, we can keep undercutting each other's prices, or we can just group up and we can make the price even higher, you know, that kind of stuff. And I think gyms have suffered, you know, a lot of, except for like specific new, oh crap, there's a gym around here, like maybe half an hour from where I am now, that someone just told me about like a few months ago, kind of grungy, that I want to go check out. But it's just, you don't see it a lot. So, you know, I wish I could hear a little more about the story. Like next time I'm at a gym that I really like and the owner's there, yeah, I'm gonna make that a little to-do list for myself. I just want to hear the story about that. You know, I know, yeah, they've got some. But no, when you're at a cool ass gym, it's like, it just raises your own mentality of what you're supposed to do in there, right? And you know, I've never really walked into a gym and thought like, ugh, like this sucks. But it's definitely a grading scale of like, you know, you show up, maybe it's a, you know, maybe you're visiting your grandparents down in Florida. The only gym is a YMCA. It's not the most high energy, but the pieces were still cool. There's a gym down in, I think it's Inglewood. That's pretty good. Kind of a YMCA over there. But you know, it invites effort, and whenever the effort has been put into that whole setup of equipment, as well as just like lights and everything else, you know, like it doesn't have to be too much. Honestly, all the lights I got up in there are, it's kind of silly. It doesn't even look like a normal gym. So I'm gonna mess with that. I want it to, like, I want to feel like I'm just in a regular ass space instead of like a set. Like I don't want it to feel like a freaking set, you know. But yeah, there was that one down in Hilton Head is definitely one I want to return to. There's this little gym in Georgia. Me, my dad, and my brother did like a little road trip where they golfed, and then I just, you know, went to the gym. And it was small, but like the equipment was really, like they had different rooms. It was kind of more of a like fitness club. Like they had racquetball rooms, and they had I think they might have had a pool. I can see from the lobby. And the actual weight side was like super cool, like clean, fancy stuff. Like there's I think it's a Nautilus chest press that's kind of cool. I know Mr. Bumstead has a couple of Nautilus pieces like that, where like the handles kind of converge, and then the weight is like way behind you, or the plates are way in front of you. It's just kind of got some fancy leverage going on. And it's like, I was really surprised. What really sucked though was when we got there, you know, it was already like 11 at night or like 10 at night or something, just a little bit later, and all the gyms were closed. So I had to lift in the hotel gym, which, you know, to say it was a gym was a little bit of a understatement. Like, all it had was dumbbells and cardio equipment. And so I was going to do chest instead. I just did arms, and then try to do like a scrappy dumbbell arm workout, because I wasn't going to skip a lift. Like, that would be crazy. It'd be crazy to skip the workout and you know, just rest and then have a good one the next day. But no, I think that's well, you tell me if you've got a story like that, or you've ever returned to the same place on like a little bit of maybe a road trip. It's, you know, it depends on how big the trip would be, but anything that's like kind of close, I mean, shit, I don't mind driving almost an hour down to American Barbell every so often, just because they're super cool down there too. So that's definitely a turning point as you, you know, especially as you get older, you can actually facilitate that kind of stuff, or you return to the same like cities or states or places, not because you necessarily loved visiting the place, but because the gym was so cool that you want to go back. Like, I've got I know Hilton Head's one, and then Petoskey up in Michigan is one, and oh crap, where else? Obviously Gold's Gym is sweet. Metroflex over there I really want to go to, or go back to. And then I've never been to Texas before, at least not intentionally. You know, I've like had a connection that was in Phoenix or whatever, or no, in Austin, I don't know, wherever the Texas airport is. But I know they've got a crazy amount of gyms over there too. And you know, now that I'm with 3D with Christian Guzman, I know that he's got Alpha Land, which is freaking just huge, a very clean gym. So yeah, there's just all sorts of stuff. You know, no matter where you go, there's always a gym somewhere that, if you're into the gym, ends up making it a little bit more of a return visit. It was kind of funny. I visited my sister in Italy for a week because she was doing this, you know, kind of like 3-month vineyard kind of, like, she basically speaks Italian now. It's sweet. So we came over for a week, and I think it was in Siena. We were kind of close to that town, and they had a little Gold's Gym, and it was like, you know, it was little, not like a big corporate thing. Like, it was you know, Gold's Gym, but like, was it really a Gold's Gym like franchised? I don't know if they're international like that, but it was really cool. And then 2 weeks later, I see a picture, and Chris was there when he went to Italy. We went to the same freaking gym. So it's just fun always getting to look back at places like that. And then now it's extra cool because I get to look back and I'm like, oh yeah, shit. Not only do I remember it, but I've got a freaking whole video of a workout when I was here last time, and now I get to come back again and I can kind of compare. Like, it's, nah, man, it's just fun. I can, you know, I've always, like, I can tell I value having all these videos to look back on in terms of like even set by set, like see what my form is like, you know, how's my intensity look, am I slacking, like things like that. But I know I'm gonna feel very good X years in the future knowing I can look back at all these training videos, not because I posted them, but just because I have them, like in all this little, you know, one-on-one kind of dialogue. Like, every time I've ever gone through my old like family photos and stuff, I wish I just had more videos when I was younger. But you know, you never think about that. You never think to record that kind of stuff. You're like, oh, this is just regular day, but it's good. So that's where, you know, my photography, videography nerd side comes into things. It's, you know, you can look back at your phone videos all you want, and it's cool. But yeah, now whenever I'm on trips anywhere, I definitely want to put a little like fanny pack on, or just like a camera strap, and just have it on me so that anytime I see something interesting, I get like a cool fancy pants video of it to be able to look back on later. You know, because a memory is one thing, but you know, to really see it extra clear, crisp, and just cool looking, that's another. That is a freaking another. So, not to make that the main point, but yeah. I'm excited to return to all the gyms that I've been to before, because odds are it's going to be a different gym, and I can guarantee I'm going to be a different guy, because Well, I mean, especially that gym up in Petoskey. The first time I went up there, I was maybe 170. Nah, maybe 180. But like, if I was 180, it was like barely. And then the next time I came back, I think I was like 260 something. Like, I was a bulked 260, so, you know, it's cheating a little bit with the weight. But yeah, that was probably the most abrupt first visit to second visit change that I'd ever freaking had. But yeah, I think nothing else left to say. I'm gonna enjoy some cloudy weather. Get some food in my system, probably finish off my block of turkey from Costco. That's in terms of a staple protein, I think that one is very easy. You're just cutting 8-ounce slabs off whenever you need them. Maybe take a nap later, play with the cats. This is a perfect Sunday. So yeah, nothing else to say there. I will see you for some back tomorrow. Today was supposed to be back, but for some reason I had arms on my mind. So the whole drive to the gym, I'm thinking arms. So I'm not just gonna like I already had arms on my mind, so I just had to stick with it. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.